With so many options on the market for backpacking tents, it can all be overwhelming and confusing. In this video, we're gonna go over some of the mistakes that new campers make buying tents and how to avoid them. A big mistake is not realizing that there's a big difference between backpacking tents and car camping tents. I see this all the time when somebody will show up for their first time backpacking and they've got this car camping tent instead of an actual backpacking tent that they should be using, and that can actually be pretty dangerous. A car camping tent is not going to be very resilient when it comes to weather. It's going to be much heavier, and it's probably not going to be very water resistant at all. As a matter of fact, I would never take a car camping tent backpacking because it's just unsafe. It's something that you want to keep kind of in your backyard as the tent to kind of camp in your backyard, or maybe just make sure you've got a very, very quick escape, because if the weather goes south, you'd be up for a really miserable night. A backpacking tent's going to be lightweight, preferably something under 4 pounds if you can manage the price on it, because the lighter you get, typically it's going to be quite a bit more expensive. It's also going to have something in the specs called hydrostatic head, and that's going to measure how waterproof something is. So you're looking for something at least 1500 hydrostatic head, so that you know that you're going to have at least some decent water proofing while you're out there. You're also going to want to make sure that that backpacking tent is going to be compact enough to be able to carry on the outside of your backpack, or at least inside of your backpack, if you can manage it. Another mistake that I see a lot of even veteran backpackers make is that they don't consider that there's an actual sleep system that's gonna go inside of the tent. So you really need to make sure that whatever you're planning to buy for your sleeping pad, your sleeping bag, or whatever it is that you're gonna fit inside of that tent is actually gonna fit inside of your tent, because not all tents are measured equally. Some tents have very narrow ends, some tents have very wide ends. If you're gonna have more than one person in that tent, are both sleeping pads gonna actually fit in there adequately so that you don't have them overlapping? That's a big, big deal if you're buying your first tent, if you're buying a backpacking tent for backpacking. Another mistake is buying your tent from a place like this. Look, I totally get it. It's easy to go to a place like this and buy whatever tent you want to buy just based on the price alone. The prices at Walmart are obviously super tempting, but these are not backpacking tents. These are not hiker tents. The weight and what they're made out of alone is going to tell you that these are not meant for anything other than camping in your backyard with your kids, because if you try to take them out into the backcountry and there's a big storm or something happens with wind, you're going to be really, really sorry that you brought that tent out there, because it's probably not going to last very well. As a matter of fact, it might actually rain inside of your tent. That's how pathetic these tents are. You're going to want to buy your tent from a known backpacking store, like a place that actually sells outdoor specific items, so that you know that whatever you're buying isn't just meant for your backyard, for you and your kids, and is actually a safe tent to take out into the backcountry, which is actually the store Backcountry, who is also the sponsor of today's video. If you're confused about what tent to buy at this point, I don't blame you. I'd be confused too, especially if I was a brand new backpacker. I get a lot of questions about backpacking tents. I can't answer them all. So I will tell you that the best people that I've found outside of, well, myself, is the Gearheads over at backcountry.com. They're former Olympians, former athletes, former trail guides. They really, really know very well what kind of backpacking tent would actually work for you based on whatever you're about to tell them once you connect with them, and they'll help you actually purchase it and save you money with my discount code, which is Becker15, where you can save up to 15% off. Some exclusions do apply, so make sure you click the link in the description below and check it out and see if you could, save a couple bucks. Another big mistake that new campers make, or new hikers make, or new backpackers make when they're purchasing their tents is actually technically after they buy their tent. But once you get it home, they don't actually take it out of the box or packaging and actually try it out at home before they get out on trail. This is a terrible idea, because the last thing you want to do is get out on trail and try to figure out setting up your tent, especially if you get to camp and it's raining. And you definitely aren't going to have some sort of a cell phone signal while you're out there, and I'm definitely not going to be hanging out with you out there. So you're going to want to make sure that you understand your entire tent, everything about it, read the directions, set it up outside, maybe even sleep in it for the night to see if it's actually going to work out for you before you go backpacking. Another enormous mistake, the final mistake, is technically after you've already bought your tent, but not understanding just tent basics in general. Like, do you know what a vestibule is? Emmett, did you know what a vestibule was when you first bought your tent?
I had no idea.
He had no idea. He did not know that a vestibule is actually this opening here on the tent. It is a doorway that you can actually put things inside of, like an awning, so you can keep things dry, like your gear, your backpack, maybe your boots, your shoes. Did you know what hydrostatic head meant?
Not at all.
He had no idea. He didn't know it had anything to do with waterproofing and how much waterproofing your tent was actually going to have on it when you bought it. So knowing this information is not only going to help you stay safe out there and not look like you don't know what you're doing when you get to camp, but it's also going to probably save you money and time purchasing your tent, because you're going to get a much better tent out the gate. So click this video right here if you want to know the basics about tents, basically pretty much whatever I've just told you about in greater detail. Click this video right here if you want to know how to set up a tent and even how to choose a campsite, and so much more information to help you all on your backpacking trips. If you like this video, hit that like button. Also subscribe for more. Hit the bell notification so I can send you a video every time it's released, and I will see you on the next one.